A little while ago I made a video about hooking up your WLED lamps to a DMX software called Jinx. DMX software is just like a industry standard for creating light shows, so you just have like a big control panel and you move levers up and down and it turns all your lights on and off. There needs to be a standard for that, and that's what it's called. In this video I just, because I'm getting back into the lamps again, I was looking for another sort of software and I came across this version called QLC Plus, which looks pretty cool. But as we all know, WLED comes with a built-in controller, which is good for, off-the-shelf stuff, so you've got different presets to go through. And the UI is pretty nice. As you can see, there's my lamp just across the top of the screen there on the floor. Easiest to see. So if I click on any of these, the lights change and it looks, cool. If we wanted to have that just sitting in the corner of our room doing that would be fine. There's a certain amount of customization you can do in here, creating segments and all sorts of different things like that, but it would really be great to be able to control this all in a setting from a control panel, and that's what we'll do with this DMX software. Like I mentioned before, the software is called QLC Plus, and you just Google that in your browser, and this is the website. It's a great price, free, and it works on any OS, so you can download it for Windows, Mac, Linux. It works fine, and you notice on the front it's got one for Raspberry Pi. I haven't tried that on yet, but if you would like to see it happen, let me know in the comments and we'll hook up a Raspberry Pi to try and drive all these lights without a computer. Once you downloaded the software, you just run the executable and away it goes, and you can start running it, and this is what it looks like. Now I'll tell you right now, I'm by no means an expert on this software, but if you've got a WLED and you want to get started, or if you're already in DMX and know this software thoroughly, this is just a quick tutorial to get you sort of up and running with these WLED lights as a node, and it's over Wi-Fi. Typically you wouldn't use Wi-Fi for DMX installations, so just imagine you're at a wedding, go pay your thousands, have a nice light show, and someone unplugs your router or something, or it all goes terribly wrong. But with DMX they usually run cables to every single fixture, just make sure it's got that solid connection using serial. Today we're just going to add this as a fixture to QLC and then do some quick sort of shows or functions just to get you up and running. Definitely, if you're into it, definitely look into this software because it does everything, and the WLED just acts as a node, just as a dumb terminal really for a light show. To add this fixture on, we just go up to this button here which has got the RGB, because it's an RGB strip, and this is an RGB panel, so let's click on that. And it's called WLED, just so we know what it is. In universe, lighting rigs are all made up into universes, and you can only have 512 lights per universe. And you probably think to yourself, 512, that's a lot, 512 different lights, and that is a lot if you've got individual lamps, but when you've got these LED strips, this has got 30 pixels, but each pixel has one light, so it's 90 lights. So you can see you can quickly run out of addresses to light up with an RGB strip. So in this one we're going to put, if you had a matrix, you'd be like, if it was 10 by 10 pixels, then you put in 10 by 10, but we're just 1 by 30 here, so I'm just going to do 30 columns by one row, and just calculate it out to 30 pixels, which is right. Width and height, because we've just got one strip, it doesn't really matter, but we could put in dimensions, so when it does its animations it's got everything in the right place. And if we had an actual matrix, square matrix, you've got a snake, so the wiring goes down one end and connects on, then goes down the other end and connects on, or zigzag, so it goes across, shoots back to number one again, shoot across and down again, and of course you've got direction of vertical and horizontal in the orientation. But I don't have a matrix here, so if you'd like to see a matrix setup, let me know in the comments and I'll grab one and we can go through it together. But anyway, we'll just click on OK, and it's added our row here, and we can see it's got the 90 lights down the right hand side. And what's first thing I'm going to do is just add this fixture to a group, WLED group. So that's fine. So the light's been added to the software, but now it needs to know how to connect to the software. And you could, anywhere else, any type of light, you'd run a cable off it and you'd choose the inputs and outputs here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to click on outputs, and the WLED supports ArtNet and E131. So if we go into the WLED setup, config and sync interfaces, and we scroll down, it's got the DMX protocols which you can choose from. I just stick with E131. They both seem to do the same thing. One's Betamax, one's VHS. I don't see any difference in this particular tiny scenario anyway. We'll pop back into QLC. So we choose E131 here, and we don't want to multicast, and we put the IP address in. I already know that it is 29. So as soon as I activate this, the software will take over the lamp and we should see it turn off. It's off. So now we've got, now QLC has taken over the lamp. If we browse into the lamp now, it'll tell us that WLED is receiving E131 data from the IP address of this computer. What we can do now is, just as a test, we can go into the simple desk, and these are our lights on here. So if I turn them up and down, you can see I can turn up and down each individual light, and I can shuffle across and go right to the end and do the end one. So I've got individual control of every single lamp, but it wouldn't be much of a light show if I'm just doing this all the time, right? Not much fun at all. So if we go back down to functions at the bottom here, we can start programming functions for the light to do and save those to use later on. So if I click on this new RGB matrix, it's not a matrix, but it pretty much is, it's a straight line one, and we will call this one chaser. We need to choose our fixture group, which we created at the beginning, and it's showing you what this particular animation will do. We're not seeing it on the light at the moment because we've got to click on play. So once I click on play, we should see the light starting to chase, and we do. So this one, it's just going down one end. It's going a bit slow at the moment, so we've got a clock button here, so we click on the clock button. We can take the time down to speed it up. I think I could have burnt out red pixel on there because it's missing one of the lights, but just assume it should be turning on. And so it's zipping down one end, that's not much good, so let's do a Knight Rider thing. Down the bottom we've got ping pong, so now it's just going to go from one end to the other. And back again. So it's cool. One thing for a light show, we want to do something else, so we'll just add another one, and we'll just call this rainbow. And under here we've got all the different patterns. So remember how we're going to WLED, and we've got this list of different patterns we can choose. We've got the same thing here, so let's choose gradient. It's a pretty colourful one. Choose our group again, and then on the screen it sort of shows what it does, but if we click on play we can actually see it on the light itself. It's pretty slow, so we'll just crank up the speed again. So it's pretty cool. So we've got two different patterns there. There's all sorts of different things we can add. We can add chase patterns, sequences. We can customize sequences and do all sorts of things in this function screen. And of course we've got all the different options here as well. A lot of these aren't much point doing with one strip. I mean, they're usually made for squares. Nonetheless, it's sort of up and running. Once you've got that sort of programmed in, you've got all your light sequences done, you can create a simple control panel to run it all, so it doesn't, you don't have to come in here and click between them all, like you just got a like touch panel thing. It's cool. Let's have a look. And then we go to the virtual console. In here we can create buttons, dials, switch, sliders and everything to control our lights. We can grab a new button. Here's our button, and we can control that, so colour that. We'll change the background colour to red because I know it's going to be a red chaser, and then we just assign the function to it that we just created, chaser. okay, and okay. So there's our chaser button, and we also got the rainbow button. So we have another button. And it's now rainbow, and we change that to background color as well. Blue. So we've got a chaser button and a rainbow button. You can change the fonts, the styles. You can have like a wood background here. And if you had a touch screen, it'd be great because you just push the button and the light turns on. It's not going to do anything at the moment because it's not been activated. So up on the top right here, we've got a play button. And just click on play. And now this control panel is taken over. So if I click on chaser now, the chaser sequence will start. If I click on rainbow, the chaser sequence and the rainbow will start. A bit hard to see, but you can see there's a red light that's sort of circling back and forward, so you can have both going at once or just a sort of one at a time. If we want to do any more modifications to this panel, we'll just click on stop, and then we could, for example, make this chaser go faster by adding a dial. So to this dial we can just add on our function, which is the chaser function. So now this control is bound to the chaser function. So we go play now, turn on the chaser, we can speed it up, slow it down, sorry, and speed it up as well. You can just imagine you can go nuts in here. There's also sound reactive. You got to battle a bit with sound reactive on WLED. You got the ESP32 only, and you know, once the pixels get up there, it starts to struggle. If you've got a computer which is dedicated to it, it's going to be a piece of cake. It's QLDC or Q Light Controller Plus in a nutshell. Definitely hook it up and give it a go with your WLED lights. And thanks for watching.